Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Good morning. Nicholas asks, is it streaming? Thanks. Yeah, I've found that if I start it really early, that gives everybody a chance to come in so that you guys don't miss the first little bit where we look at the charts. Because, a lot of people, especially newer guys, find that useful. So, anyways, first to just look at the DOM here really quick, I'm noting that since the top of the hour, we have been moving up, seem to be moving up overall. But this is in contradiction to all of the crazy stuff that happened yesterday. So I'm going to minimize that one. Maybe we can get into that later. But you can see here in the Treasuries, we had some data yesterday. That was this first move up. And then the FOMC came out, and that was this move. And then the Federal Reserve president spoke, and we moved all the way down. Good morning, Ron. And then in the overnight session, we have continued down a little bit, but not past, what was it, Tuesday's levels? Yes, not past Tuesday's levels yet. And then, since then, we're moving up. Okay. Kind of a similar thing in the E-mini. They didn't move up off of the release, but then once he started talking, they too moved it down. E-mini was very, very sad. Watching that move down in the E-mini was, it was I felt bad for her. So that's where we're at. This thing right here. So let's go and let me talk about this. This is just a new little indicator that I'm messing with. I think that I want it down here. And then I can switch between it and 6J like that. Sure. By the way, the move in I should point out that the move in the dollar had a lot to do with the treasuries falling down, right? Anyways, this thing. I have a new indicator. It's this one right here. And it's just an attempt to try and adjust cumulative delta with how much it's ticked. I backtested it last night and I got some really, really good results. So I might, well, you know what? We don't even need to do that. Let's do it this way. Let's just turn this on, go to strategies and add it. New strategy. And where is it? It's the secret Seth one. I'm going to put it on ZN and I've been doing it on volume bars. Need tick replay on. And 16 bar period, I think. Do it on Sim 101. Oh yes, trading hours. The Seth trading hours. Right there. Calculate on close. Blah 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 blah. Okay. We'll enable that. Orders generated by strategy will be submitted without confirmation. Okay. Sure. All right. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see if it tells us anything interesting. And turn this off. You need to hear it here. Okay. Anyways, back to the main chart. I mean, they're moving up. They're kind of giving me maybe a little bit of an indication that they're starting to get a little overbought. And since the open, they have been selling it. So that's really important. Well, I would have liked to have sold it, but we got like 4 minutes until news. Oh, so that's another thing that we should point out, huh? Thursday, non-farm productivity quarter over quarter. We're looking for a reading of spot 9%, preliminary labor costs a 2 spot 4%, and with unemployment claims we're looking for a rating of 220k jobs. We also have factory orders month over month at 8 o'clock and natural gas storage at 8:30. That's my time, so really 10:30 Eastern time. Um, and yeah, also some one interesting news item I saw that I wanted to highlight. Where is it? Caterpillar announces a 20% increase in its quarterly dividend. I find that extremely interesting, and um, they are very highly tethered to global growth, which means they're probably not doing so hot right now. But if we think that China is going to have a turnaround, I think that Caterpillar could be a good play. So that perks my interest. Jerome Powell has presided over 10 interest rate decisions as chair. Markets have sold off on 9 of the last 10 Fed days, says Amber Canwar on Twitter. Very, very excellent observation there. Okay, I am seeing the poll. Oh, I never logged out so that we can get the seconds down here at the bottom. Ugh. Okay, initial jobless claims 230 versus 215k estimate. Forex Live coming in with the first on the Twitter for that one. Productivity 3.6 versus 2 spot 2. That's really good. That should that could give us a good sell there, I think. Interesting that it's not moving. Haven't gotten all of the numbers yet. Okay. Cannot place inside. Oh, it's because I'm putting a stop. Well, I missed that one. That one is not going to let me do it. Missed it. Missed it because of my mistake. Labor costs negative spot 9 versus an expected 1.5. Those are all good numbers. Although, why would the productivity be less? Okay, and why did we just tick up there like that? Yeah. Okay. Hmm. That was very interesting. That buying just kind of appeared to pop up out of nowhere. Is it because the labor costs decreased? Labor costs negative spot 9 versus 2.4. Productivity 3 spot 6 versus spot 9. It could be that the productivity was really good because the labor costs were low. Now, unemployment claims were a little bit higher than expected. Oh. Well, I wanted to sell it today. Now I'm not so sure. 18 was the overnight high. Feel like they're a little bit extended here at 17, but not so much that they can't reach for more. It's kind of more the momentum, though, that's stopping me from clicking that. Well, I just need to relax then, I think. Let's give it a few minutes. Okay. Well, they're willing to hit both sides now. E-mini's selling a bit now. Just a thought, but maybe it's easier to tell us which Democrat isn't running for president, says a Rand Squawk on Twitter. That's hilarious. That gets a like. Need to change this. Make the bar width be like 2. Yeah, much better. Maybe even 1. Good morning, Uzi. Oh man, I looked away for a second and it moved. That's funny. Oh, missed my chance. That sucks. That really sucks. They were able to drop it down there really easily, though. Like, you gotta be suspicious about that one. Somebody came in and bought it all the way up, and then it fell back down on only 800 contracts or something. Well, they are continuing, and they are pushing the bottom of this range now. Yeah. It seems like it's moving because the E mini had a strong move up. We moved up. E mini had a strong move down. We moved down. So even though that move, I'm really mad that I wasn't short from 17. Um, is the kind of move it's maybe wasn't necessarily the one I'm looking for. If it's just correlations. And are we seeing the 6J move or not? Hmm. Hmm. Okay, there's 15. This might not necessarily be the best place for us because it's ticking up and down really easily here, isn't it? So when it does things like that, um, I think you got to be a little careful and suspicious because they can do that to try and just stir the pot and get some fills before making a big trend. The way this is moving though is very disadvantageous for us because you could have taken it anywhere in there and had it go against you 2 ticks just like that. That's not, that never feels good, right? You get filled like that. By the way, how are we doing on DLive? I haven't checked my DLive one. Some people are asking about the price of Bitcoin. I think they're still overbought. Now they're going to touch 5,400 today. I just think the whole thing is nonsense. But it may just be short covering. Like, that's my suspicion, is that it's all just short covering. CB's bull bear zone is in the 147.12 to 147.16 area. So we are above that. My bias is for a retest of the price traded at the FOMC announcement rate yesterday, 147.31. If the ZB manages continuation beyond that level, we could see yesterday's high tested. We've got a number of items on the schedule to get through, so we'll see if that push to test the 147.31 level can even be contemplated. Yeah. Well, the way that it's trading around here right now, though, they could totally do it, especially if equities decide that they're still depressed from their love the Federal Reserve Chairman not speaking nice to them again. Actually looks fairly even here. Oh, my eye is twitching. I might be a little stressed out still from yesterday. That was intense. I'm trying to relax. I feel pretty relaxed right now, but can you see it? It's twitching. This one right here, it's twitching. Just a little bit. You know what? I haven't had my massive multivitamin. It's on back order. I'm probably magnesium deficient. Well, I ate a banana. Banana helps, but I need to eat like a big, uber healthy, not so good tasting salad. What's IQ got here about ZB? He sold it at 147.24. Tesla looking to raise $2.3 billion through a bond sale and stock offering. Well, that's not going to help their price. "21 Democrats seeking the presidential nomination. Half of them are not going to make it into the debate, right?" It's going to be interesting. I backtested a strategy, and I can see markets are changing every 2 to 5 years. Well, you know, the question I would ask yourself, like trying to go back through the strategy, is what changed? What was it about the market that it did so well before, and now what's not doing so well? past 5 years or so was, post quantitative easing. So that might be where the change happened for you. I found a lot of my strategies, um, they will work during certain quarters of the year. And if I backtest it back 3 years, it's like the same times of year that it does well and it doesn't do well. So I think that a lot of people might backtest something like that and think, oh, okay, doesn't really work because it doesn't have a consistent edge. But the truth is you actually are catching something and you just need to figure out the right way to filter it, right? You know, if it's like the most simple thing would be if it's trending, then you use the trending strategy, and if it's the time of year where it tends not to trend, then you use the counter trend strategy, right? Although this new indicator that we've got running right now, um, it's one of the first ones that, without any effort on my part, it was showing consistent profitability. Like I wrote up the most simple thing I could possibly think of. Just combine it with one other indicator to make sure that it was taking it in a place where price was overextended. And it was giving me a profit factor of 1.6. And like, even without me putting in targets and stops and everything, it was getting the right risk reward. It was getting bigger wins than losses. The wins were a little bit bigger than the losses, about 1.5 times, and the probability was about 50%. I was like, whoa, that's like the golden numbers. So maybe it's a little too good to be true. We'll see what happens if we put it, what back test, forward testing it on a sim account does. But it's not. So there's another thing, and maybe a bigger point for you guys if you're writing strategies, is something that I found is that a lot of the strategies that I see people posting on Facebook and online and everything are strategies that take a lot of trades, and those are unlikely to be successful when you take them live. If it's taking teeny tiny little ticks, that's where like the differences between live and the back test and whether or not you would have gotten filled and everything end up making a big difference, right? So, and not only that, but then when you're trying to look at it from like the thing that Wrong was looking at here, okay, what changed? Well, if your strategy is taking like a dozen trades every day, it can be really hard to go back in and decipher why. But if you're doing one that only takes maybe even one trade a day, it's a lot easier to figure out what's changed in the market and why the signal that it's getting no longer works. Yeah. But it was interesting to me that this one, I back tested it over the year, and it was pretty much successful over the whole year. And it wasn't like it was taking teeny tiny trades. It was going for like, it was getting 4 to 6, which I thought was pretty good. But it's always difficult on backtesting it on ZN. You never know. I think today's markets are more efficient than before. Well, it's certainly the case, but I'm not so sure if it's that different from like 2 years ago. So I was reading about the toxic order flow, because there is an indicator that people have written some papers about called VPIN, which is they're basically estimating whether or not the volume for that bar was made by informed traders or not. And I'm not quite sure I completely understand how they do that, but um, there was a lot of discussion about it online, and a lot of the people that said that they had tried it said that it wasn't any more effective than just your standard order flow using the bid offer rule, where when you look at each volume, look at what the bid offer was there and base whether it was a buy or a sell based off of that. Um, that's why I kind of made the thing that I did. I was trying to figure out a way to equalize it so that when you're looking at the cumulative delta and we say, okay, there was a bunch of buying there, but we did move up, then what does that mean? How much did it actually take us to move up on a relative basis? And that's what it tries to show. The way it is right now, they're looking pretty good in terms of the amount of volume that it's taken them to move things up. And I think that they might have a little bit more strength in them to push us up a little bit further. They are above that open price now. So I'm already finding this useful. So that's super interesting. Wonder if I can take it a step further and compare it to the difference from the last time that we were at that price to try and calculate how many people are actually long or short or whatever. Euro USD caught in up and down trade today above cluster of support. Okay. I do see that the euro moved down when we moved down. The 6J mostly flat. British pound also moving down a little bit. Okay. So let's watch the euro. Some oil news. A high dose of organic chlorides in Urals crude has shut down European refineries and led to severe logistical and price complications, reports Platts. Urals, is that's Urals crude? I thought that they were going to say urinal or something. Okay, they are going back and forth there at 17.5. Mikey Sicko, what's up? Love your channel. Great stream. From Staten Island. Oh, very nice. It's nice to meet you, Mikey. I think, I used to work for Goldman Sachs for like 6 years in technology. And while I was working for them, I got to go to New York a number of times. Lived there for like a month, I think, when I did the training, and then, I'd come back. But I don't think any of the people that I met or worked with there was from Staten Island, so I don't really know the people of that particular area. Most of them were from like what was it? Hoboken was popular, and then a lot of them lived on the Jersey side. Blaine, what's happening in bonds won't end well. Story from Zero Hedge. Let's read that. Anyways, I'm glad that you enjoy the channel. I'm kind of going into my time period where I don't do very well. Like, I do really well at the beginning of the year, and then as we move into the summer, it's just awful. So I feel a little dumb sometimes, and I appreciate that people still come in and say nice things. Like, it helps a little bit. Mostly Italians from Brooklyn. There you go. It's weird to me, like, I don't think that people outside of the city realize what it's like, because, there really is like each little what do they call them, borough, And New York really does have a unique culture and a different type of people that you'll see from that area. And they're all really, I thought that New Yorkers were really nice. I mean, obviously, when you're walking down the street, everybody's an asshole, but when you're at the club and talking to people and stuff like that, it was nice. Okay, so what are they saying? This is really, really long. I don't think I can read it all for you. But he says, I'm concerned about the bond market. Why? Because in the bond market lies the truth. It's very difficult to invest sensibly in the bond market at present. Rates remain distortedly low. Much of Europe is back in negative yield territory. US rates have not normalized either. It's an investment truth. You can't survive on a 2.5% 10-year treasury yields and corporate bond yields at spreads so tight they don't properly reflect risk. Treasuries are supposedly the zero risk rate, but when the discount rate they provide is simply wrong, then it affects every other investment, distorting the risk return equation. Fixed income investors are left with the option of idiosyncratic plays looking for value in thin, illiquid markets. Over the past few days, I've been speaking to clients about a whole raft of bond ideas to generate above market returns, but it's difficult to focus on making 6% by taking extremely clever and complex synthetic European sovereign risk when the stock market is touching new highs each and every day. Well, so what you are seeing, Mr. What is this? What is this guy's name? Bill Blaine, is that overall, the bond market probably should be selling and we remain elevated. He's saying, bonds should be a lot higher than they are and rates should be lower. No, not when the stock market is hitting highs. He lists a bunch of things about how bad things are. Oh, actually, he says that things are good. He's like, oh, look, everything's good, but they're a bit complacent. I don't really like that article. I'll read a little bit more lately, but well, we did sell there. Kind of felt like it came out of nowhere. Again. 6J, not move in. Not move in. Seems like Treasuries moved on its own that time. Yeah, I don't know. Normally I would have taken a trade by now, but I've stayed out of the first 30 minutes. So now we've developed a range here. The opening drive. The opening drive was lower though. We should take note of that. The high of this range is like one tick above the open. So at the moment, I would say we're more likely down. But I think that the equity markets are going to have a lot to say here when they open. So I don't know if a trade at this particular time is really makes sense for me. Well, I should start keeping an eye on the ES here too. So we've moved down this whole time. Might be a buy-in here. Well, I think I would rather sell it given the way that they were acting yesterday. David Solomon at Goldman shareholder meeting. I think chance of a hard Brexit is very low, but whatever happens, we're ready. Hmm. Okay, so now they're taking the bottom of this range again. I think New York grew tighter since 9/11. We get a bad rep, but you definitely want us on your side. Right? I totally get you there. I trade e-minis during the New York session and I follow your news. Oh, thank you very much. So just kind of listen in. So you've been watching for a while then, yeah? Kind of sounds like you've been listening for a while. Always like you on during Wall Street hours. Thank you. I appreciate it. I think we have good discussion. I like that's the whole thing is I don't know if I'm like I think some people they want to come in and they want to follow trades. And I'll just tell you right now, if you follow my trades, it's probably not going to work out. Because for one, I have a period of time when I do really well, and then I have a period of time when I do really poorly. And basically, I just trade sim during that really poor time. That's the first thing. But then the second thing is that it's so geared towards me and the way that I think and the problems that I have that it's probably not going to work the same for somebody else, you know? So I just don't understand why people always want to find trade rooms to show them how to trade, you know? But the thing that you do get around here is like, you know, you got other people to talk to and commiserate with and give suggestions and stuff. I think that's really important. I don't see how you could ever be successful in a field like this without some friends, you know? Yeah, I watch it during the days and enjoy listening. I've been watching for about a year. Oh, wow. You've been watching for about a year. But a lot of it after the fact. That's interesting. Wow. Well, thank you very much. Only experience can really teach. Yeah. Well said. Well, there's John popping up in Discord. Well, the equities is going to get interesting here because um, I really want to trade these micro futures, but I am not very good at trading the E-mini right now. And I'm figuring some things out, but I don't think I have something that I can really take. I'll still take some trades, but I think that it'll be really sparse in the beginning. And then we got the micro futures starting on Monday, and we've got the whole situation that markets are in. I mean, I don't know. Maybe we just don't do anything and we just kind of sit around until August, but yep, you can trade as low as one lot with micro. Exactly. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to trade one lot, go for a short little thing, try and let it stay on as long as I can. Like if I do get a buy, you know, I think we're gonna fall down here a little bit. But let's say that things stay bullish. I'm able to get a buy and hold it down at the bottom. And if I can keep it on for several days, I think that I would like to do that. I need to learn better self-control and risk management, which I see you have a good control on. Well, thank you for the compliment. I don't feel like I'm always on. I felt like yesterday. Well, you know what? I only took small little losses yesterday, but was just did not feel very good about yesterday. So I think that I have a tendency to tilt. That's the problem. I think that most of the time I'm okay, but then I can tilt, and I don't think I realize it when I'm tilting very well. How's the commissions on micros? So if you watch the Futures Trader 71 webinar that he did on Futures IO last week, he gives a hypothetical commission, and he based that off of like real stuff, like what the exchange was going to charge and what it should cost the brokers to do and everything, and it was less than $1. So you're gonna want to make more than a tick, but I mean, come on. It's really the thing is the especially with the range that the e-mini trades and everything like that, the commissions probably aren't going to be a huge deal for you. In the 10-year, commissions are huge, right? But in the e-mini, it's probably not going to matter too much. Won't work for scalping, but 5 to 10 point trades, I guess. Sure. Well, I mean, you can build up an account. It's just you're building it up $10 at a time. You know, but it's mostly to get the experience. And you know, if you get 5, you know, if you make well, how much would it be? 2 points is $10, right? So if you were able to get 10 points, then you would be able to put on another contract. So it's feasible to build it up. I think the thing that I am concerned about is, will there be slippage? Are the retail traders and the robots really going to have a decent amount of liquidity at every price? Or are we going to have a situation where there's nobody bidding or offering for, you know, quite a space, and if you lose, you get 5 ticks of slippage, and that would be awful, right? Sometimes this indicator that shows me the range doesn't work. So we've popped out the bottom of the opening range and it's not showing it. Okay, there we go. Also interesting, we moved down there, but the spread is steepening. So the 30-year really came down at the bottom. The 10-year only a tick, and the 5-year has yet to break. Isn't that interesting? Well, if they're not in line with the spread, that kind of gives us a slightly lower probability trade. So unless I see the spread turn around and start flattening again, even though it's awfully tempting to sell it here, huh? I think that my restream chat is having a little bit of issues here. It doesn't look like it's completely updating. Oh, I see Ace there. Says looking for short at 29.23. He wants it to come up quite a bit. Okay, what's Mikey saying? I am not classically trained in economics, self-taught, so it's great to have a channel like yours to listen in on selling oil right now. Nicholas, that would mean for 1 point would be $5. The $4 round commission will net just $1 won't do it. Maybe I'm wrong. Well, it's like it's $1 round turn. Just that I make, right? So if you're trading one contract and you make 2 points, you make $9, right? So multi-lots take first process. Okay, so Mikey's asking, how did you gravitate towards your treasuries, and how do you like the Renko charts? I didn't realize till you expanded the screen one day. Well, so that is not; those aren't actually Renko charts. You come over here, you're talking about like this thing right here. Those aren't Renko charts. Those are one range charts. So every time that it ticks up or down into a new price, it forms a new bar. So I like that because treasuries don't move all that much, and it allows me to see like literally every tick, and so I can remember what happened. That's why I like that. And then these are tick bars. These ones I'm doing it based on tick. So yeah. But the reason I gravitated towards treasuries was because I wanted to learn how to trade on the DOM. I learned through No BS day trading, and his recommendation is to trade treasuries. And I said, well, he seems to know what he's doing, and I'm just going to start there. And the more I got into it, the more I realized, that there are real reasons to do that. Because not only are the commissions a lot lower, but the behavior in treasuries is just a lot more consistent. I find the equity markets very difficult to trade because they just seem so sporadic to me sometimes. I think that Ace has helped me out a lot by pointing out to me that you can do it based on a time. He always is coming in and trying to take a trade just before the market's open. And we can get a trade after the market's open sometimes. But if I try trading around the open and everything, it's like it seems so sporadic, and it's like your stop never holds, and it's just crazy, Yeah, my restream chat's not updating anymore. That sucks. So I'm just gonna have to leave YouTube open here like that. Just move this over to the side. Actually, you know what? I should do it like this and put this on this side of it. Yeah. And then that way. Okay. Cool. Turkish central bank to launch lira/gold swap market. Okay. Zero Hedge says that should help. Yeah, because everybody's going to just sell the lira and buy gold because they're making it easy. After my market opens, trades after the room closes are usually good money. I switch to 5-minute candles, not to brag, but if you're staying home. Yeah. Aces, yeah. So there was a time period the big was it the beginning of last year? I don't remember. It seems like it's such a long time ago now, but there was a long time period there where our office was flooded. And so I was working from home. And I would trade until 9:30 our time, 11:30 Eastern time. So I would trade a whole extra hour, and I did really well in that extra hour. I did really well. Um, and I haven't really looked at the equities quite as strongly, but when I was trying to swing equities on a spreadsheet, I always the way that I would did it was I always waited till the first 30 minutes of trade was over, and then based off of what they did on the open, then I made my decision, and that worked a lot better. I'm on a kick to get set to stay home and trade full time, so I have someone to go to talk about. You drive all the way up there every day. That would be great. I'm awful at golf though. I need to like I need to take some driving lesson, go to the driving range and get some lessons and practice up in that. I've wanted. I feel like that my wife would really enjoy that. See, the thing with her is she's kind of like um well, so we haven't talked about this in a long, long time. But people have kind of like a neurotypes, different types of activities that their brain tends to respond better to. Like I tend to respond better to like the social praise. That's kind of like the thing, because my brain doesn't get the same reward that people have, that normal people get when you complete a task. Like when you finish cleaning the house and it feels good, like you finished the whole thing. I don't get that unless it was like a really big thing that was like really stressing me out. So like that, the active social praise is like a better thing for me. But she gets off on um, the consistency type things. So she really likes to do those kind of typical girly activities like cross stitching or knitting or things that to me are just like mind-numbingly boring. But she really enjoys them. Things that are repetition. And so I think that going to a driving range and just hitting ball after ball and getting consistent at that is something that she would enjoy. And she likes to be active. So I think she would enjoy that. Just kidding. I have guys to go with, but I have so many other things I like doing. Dot, dot, dot. I gotcha. While I really wish, I don't know. Here's the thing. Wait, so there's two things, and then we got to answer Mikey's question about yield curve inversion. Um, if I mean, I do want to get to a point someday where I could just trade live and just only do that. I don't know if I'll ever get there. It seems to me like I have some edge that if I continue to refine and I'm able to be conscious of when the market switches and, you know, the times of years when I should be trading what and everything. But I do think that I have an edge that could be pretty successful. But I think it's like a very narrow edge, and I don't know. I'd have to be trading pretty big size. It would take a long time to build up my account to be able to do it full time. But it might happen. But then I'm worried that I will just stay in the house all day. Like I think that if I did that, I would trade for the same amount of time that I trade today, like to that 9:30, like the London close probably. And then I would probably like make music or something or work on the alpaca farm that I want to make. And I wouldn't actually like go out and talk to people. so so I've kind of thought, well, if that ever does happen and I'm doing well with just trading that time period, then I'll just keep the job just so that I'm forced to actually go out and talk to people. Anyways, so what do you think on yield curve inversion? Well, I think that the yield curve Inverting is an important thing to pay attention to. I think that the part of the curve that has inverted so far is not necessarily a huge deal. The twos and tens is the one that really, really matters, and it has to stay inverted for a long time for it to actually be a reliable signal, at least with like the backtesting that they've done. So I think that some people, especially the news media, kind of overstate the impact of yield curve inversion that we're having right now. One, two, because we have a negative carry, which is unusual, and that is like, we're at 123.14, which means that the treasury is actually trading for higher than what you would buy it for, right? Normally you could get it for cheaper than what it's worth, but it's not, which means that if you bought it and you held it to maturity, you actually lose money. It's a negative carry. And so that kind of puts different pressures on the treasuries because of that, because the people that are holding them and everything, they have to be holding them for different reasons and all this. That makes the yield curve more likely to invert. And Yellen, before she left, when one of the press conferences, she talked about this. And I just remembered it, and as we've been watching it, I think it seems to me that she was right, that the negative carry is making the yield curve much more likely to invert. Now, the question is, does that make it more dangerous for the economy, or does that just mean that the yield curve inverting isn't as big of a deal? And it seems to me so far that the yield curve inverting isn't as big of a deal. Like, it will invert, and other markets will freak out because all of these back-tested statistical strategies out there, all of these big funds are trading based off of it, and you'll get a big panic for a month, and then everything goes back to normal. So until until we get the twos and tens, I'm not too concerned about it. Here comes your 2 points. You are welcome. Setting in this stuff on the contract still in. Going to say good morning to the waffle maker. There you go. When he said it, and I looked at it, I saw 29.21, and I was like, well, I think it's a little bit too late. Now I'm looking at it. It seems like it might come back up, and I could maybe take it short again. But I just don't like holding a trade into the equities open, so I'm just going to stay out of it. I am keeping an eye out here, though. I suspect that we may get a short here. They might give us a short in the treasuries, but we'll see. Great insight. It seems like a media hype talking point. Yeah, well, usually if the media is talking about it, it's a really well-worn edge at that point, right? So, China's mass surveillance is more sophisticated than thought. I bet they're you probably have a guy that listens to everything you say over at the NSA, and then he has a Chinese counterpart too. Must be the case, right? And they've got those Hawaii chipsets in there that they can hack into everything. That's what's going. I don't know. I really wish that I could have taken a short up here at 17. That was the one where it did fall down and I wasn't watching, right? But it just happened way too fast. And I'm afraid if I took a short at 13.5 there, for instance, I think that would be where it turns. And they would come up and bust through 15, trade 15.5, stop me out, and then go down. ZB support in this area 13 to 16. ZB looks thick. See, here's where maybe we could take it the E-mini again. But I think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait and let them trade the first 15 minutes. And then I'll take a look at it again. My restream chat is not happy. It's not showing me anything. How do you get it to refresh? Oh, it says channel 0, 0. It's not connected at all. Big chunk of cell volume at 16 in ZB. If she turns, she may have fuel. Yeah. So the thing that's interesting about this is that when they sell, they're never able to get a whole lot of velocity behind it. So I suspect that means that they could probably continue lower if they really want to. But it also means that for some reason the sellers are not as interested as they probably should be. Well, check these other ones here. Hope I'm not missing anybody on like Twitch or anything. No, it looks like we're okay. Okay, so there was another tick up, and the E-mini initial, interesting. So the initial impulse is down, but there was a little bit of buying there. So it's not, I wouldn't say that it's entirely clear like we're good for trending, but they might fight it out and see some sellers give up or something. Let's go to live. Do patient traders waiting to fade this Tesla rally? Zero Hedge retweeting. Okay, so we do appear to be getting some buying in bonds because the equity market is selling off some more still. We'll see if they get below 29.15. Then we could get a real doozy. Well, never got anything close to a signal on my indicator. So there's that. They did tick back down there. E-mini at the top of its range now, very quickly. That was very quick. You know, I wonder, can I duplicate a new tab? I wonder if the E-mini shows the same kind of behavior that I see in the treasuries with the cumulative delta. Okay, so there was a downtick. Pretty insistent. So here on the E-mini, I think I need to go volume, let's say maybe 1,000 volume. Okay. So now they're back down towards the bottom of their range. So there was a really strong buy. Nope, we have to wait longer. I want to buy it, but we need to wait longer. Okay, sure, 1,000 might be sufficient. Indicators. Let me just get rid of that. Don't need that. I might need to go back a lot further than just 16, but let's just see. Okay, so there they are. They're pushing the low now. New low. Not the overnight low, but regular session low. And treasuries up as a result. When it's the treasuries are moving because of something that the E-mini is doing, it's not as good of a trade for us, and the order flow doesn't matter as much. So I'm just going to kind of watch this thing. So they don't even get past like 500. That's interesting. Maybe I need to have it look further back. Dude, 64. Let's like make it look really far back. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, good morning, everybody. A bunch of new viewers pop in right here for the E-mini to start. It's very curious. You know, I came in today thinking, okay, we had a pretty big day at the Fed. Sometimes the day after the Fed, you get a little bit of back and forth as they kind of work out what happened, and everybody is like positioned, and then we can see if we're gonna make a move, continued move, then we make the continued move, and but that's really not what has happened so far, has it? I mean, we had a really slippery open there. And then we did have a move down, but now it's moving mostly off of what the equity market is doing. And yeah, okay, so I am seeing the yen, or sorry, the euro is moving down still. Yen not really doing anything too significant. Hmm. See that volume in, yes, that's quite a lot long. It wasn't immediate on the open, so I think that we need to wait, give it some more time. But so far, I'd have to say that's pretty bullish. Let's see if a sell comes in, if they retrace it or what. Excuse me. Kind of hard to stay focused in a spot like this because I'm just not going to take a trade here. As long as we're just ticking like this, based off of whether E-mini is up or down, that's kind of yucky. No, 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 no. Don't want that. Okay, so there was a little bit of a sell there in equities, but they didn't get very far at all. They're still above 29.24. Treasuries are starting to show a little bit of stacking below us. Let's zoom these Vista charts up. Actually, I'll do it like one less than that. There we go. So now we can see. $13.5 and 13. Well, it pulled a little bit. I think it was 6. Okay, so they hit into 13.5. And I'm seeing an iceberg there. Equity's new cumulative delta high, but not new price high. Can wait a few more minutes. Treasuries kind of look anxious to break down at the bottom of this range, but there's an iceberg stopping it. Okay. So do you see that as they sold, it absorbed, and the 13 actually stacked? Okay, down tick. It's pretty normal volume at our liquidity at 13 now, 42. And I am seeing a little bit at 12. So maybe somebody move a target from 13 to 12. Let's see if we get a tick back up. I wonder if that'll move back up. Will that 12 still be 54? Well, yes, it's still going. It's always curious to me. We had all this action here at 13.5. We traded through 6,000 contracts. We tick down, and it's like all of a sudden nobody cares. 16 taking sells on the gin. Yes, they sell on it. And they cleared it, in fact. Man, the 13 is pulling. And hitting back at 13.5. Okay. So equities are now into a time period where I could consider buying. Well, that was an aggressive sell there. Okay, so we did tick up, but the liquidity at 12, it's still there. Okay. It moved. Some of it moved to 13. Well, it was an aggressive sell, but they're not getting too much out of it yet. Interesting that they're showing me 13.5 again. It's normally the kind of behavior that we just saw there would push treasuries up more than it did. Oh yeah, we do have the news at the top of the hour, don't we? The inventories, right? Factory orders, that's right. Factory orders, month over month. Which they're looking for here a reading of 1 spot 0% with a previous reading of a negative 0 spot 5%. And I'd expect that they might be a little bit worse than expected because the ISM numbers were worse than expected, right? Hmm. Okay, so there was a sell sweep and they got immediately countered. So I think that they buy it here, but don't think I can take it. That's kind of a really slow new high, isn't it? Okay, that's a little more like it. Tick up again. Not quite as much stacking that time, though. I feel sleepy. I'm not putting you guys to sleep, am I? I got the screen set up right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool. Okay. So the 10-year is starting to look like it's really stuck here at 13.5. If it were to stop and reverse here, that could be. Hmm. Well, I don't know. If they're not able to get to 11 again, and it stops short, and then we get another bull run, that would be really interesting. Like if 11 was basically rejected. Um, Dalio, like it or not, central banking is on its way out. Modern monetary theory will inevitably replace it. Oh, gotta read this. Read Dalio. Following the capitalism is broken trend. Yeah. Modern monetary theory is not going to replace modern banking because it doesn't, it's nonsense. It's basically like here's my take on modern monetary theory. We can print as much money as we want because that's what we would like to do. Because it will allow us to have all of our socialist programs. So surely it will work. No. Whether or not you want to be able to print all that money, this is not going to make you immune from the consequences of printing all that money. Okay, so now here at 13, there's still not trading into 13 very strong. but they may eventually push through. But now there is a lot sitting at 12. So it still kind of seems like maybe there are some buyers playing defense here. And the E-mini is pushing highs again. Okay, so there's a tick up. Some of the orders at 12, about 200 of it pulled. That was like 6,700, right? And I think that they're now at 13. So 1,000 just traded into 13.5 to try and push it down, and they absorbed it again. Interestingly enough, the kids are not awake yet. How long have we been in this zipper? I think that it is starting to call for a reversal. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now you could count this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So maybe you could buy it at 13.5. Yeah. If you can even get filled. Thing is the E-mini is still pushing highs, so that might make it difficult. Also, Euro's reversing and moving up. Missed it, huh? Not seeing stacking there on that uptick to 14, though. How low did this get? Negative 20, 24, 20. So you've got quite a bit of trapped traders here now at 13.5 that are getting squeezed out. It appears. The liquidity that we had at 13, 12, not really stacking. You see here, it kind of decreased a little bit. You can see here was the liquidity in the 30 year. And this shows up in the 5 at 11 quarter. Curious. Another tick up, but I'm not seeing this move up is a little suspicious to me because I'm not seeing them stack behind us. I'm not ready to take it short just yet, but okay. Well, there was an opportunity there at 14.5, and they're already selling it at 13.5 again. And the E-mini is kind of pushing highs again. Maybe that's all we get. Okay, so here's the 8 o'clock news. Factory orders month over month, 1.9 versus the estimated 1.5%. So they're actually better than expected. Durable goods orders 2.6 versus 2.7. Lewis Allred says that RTY looks strong. And there's the E-mini is coming up out of that top two, and they look strong. And it's not causing selling in the treasuries. Very interesting. Well, that's that classic thing, isn't it? It's like if you sell the treasuries because you think the E-mini is going to go up, and then it happens, the E-mini goes up, and the treasuries don't care. They just sit there and do nothing. You could still buy it at 13.5 if you wanted to, but just the fact that we had that move up and it was looking strong, but they only got it basically a tick outside of this range from it, and the liquidity did not stack up behind us. Maybe if we reject this price one more time, then it will look better. At the moment, though, it looks awfully sketchy. I did want it at 13.5 that one time, right? Okay. So that was not the greatest fill in the world. Hmm. Okay. So now they're showing some balance at 13.5 again. Stirring around a lot, in fact. Seems to be ranging based off of what the 5 year is doing. 5 year ticks up. Second split second later, the 10 year ticks up. Oh, quiet dog. Moscow to create group of countries to counter U.S. intervention in Venezuela. Ugh. Let's have a proxy war in Venezuela. That would be fun. Ugh. That's just what we need. You know, that's something that we haven't had in a good decade or two is a proxy war with Russia. Okay, so now that 13 pulled a little bit. E-mini's still moving up. It's kind of like a steady yet uninspiring move up in the E-mini. Kind of gotta wonder there. So now that there's this 29.50 in big order, kind of looks a little flat below that. Okay, just saw something change in the E-mini. When that hit, something changed. And the treasuries ticked up. Oh, that was interesting. That size at 12 is stacking up again. Oh, so that 12 half looks weak in the 5. Okay, so they ticked up in the 5. The mini might be turning here. Tough call. But I definitely saw something change on the DOM when that tick down happened. And you can see the cumulative delta starting to point down. Serbia may abandon EU bid, AP cites Defense Minister Vulin. Oh, dogs. Oh, dogs. So loud. You let them out of the cage, and they start barking to go outside, and they get so excited about it. So it's interesting that the 10-year is still pulling even though the 5-year is not showing the same thing. U.S. factory orders rebound in March, hovered near weakest growth since Trump election. As you noticed that the zero hedge always puts the headline in a negative light. It's like if it's really good, then he doesn't really say anything. But if it's bad, it's like it's the worst since blah 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 blah. Okay, this correlation between the 10-year and the 5-year is disconnected a little bit. Man, and we have been here a really long time. Okay, so that's the first time that I think I've seen them aggressively hit into 13 and they just got absorbed and 13 half pulled. So almost as though a robot tried to hit it at 13 and it didn't break and so it immediately puked. That's the strongest offer we've seen at 13 half in a while though. And we are starting to see some stacking at the 14. Say overall negative signs. This churn is killing me, says Izzy. Yeah. Okay, well, they did take it at 13. Not a strong offer yet, but it doesn't look good for me. Then they ticked back up. Man. And the 13 half pulling again. Man. So the issue I'm seeing right now is the E-mini is pushing highs, but they had a big cumulative delta sell. So there's some imbalance in the E-mini coming out here. And as that happens, Treasury's acting kind of weird. Okay, so that was a strong uptick at 13.5 again. Almost as though those lower prices are getting rejected. RTY continues to chug higher. Every time I look over there, I just see Uzi's comments. So bored. And I'm like, I'm sitting here and like, I'm really focused on it right now. It kind of sucks when you get hyper focused on in the churn. You know what I mean? Like it's so interesting, but probably everything that you're looking at, probably everything that I just said there for the last, 30 minutes was probably noise, I don't know. So if that 12 and 3/4 pulls, oh my. Yep. And the 14 half pulled too. Okay. So I'm still a little bit weary about this because I'm not seeing really strong stacking behind us. Well, there is some more stacking at 13 than I think there was before. We're getting 55 there now. And maybe we start to see something more significant at like 13 half if they decide to clear 14 half. Only 34 orders into it so far, though. And the 14 is, yeah, it's going to take the 5-year chugging around a little bit more still. 60 moving, dancing around. 6J not really showing us anything too clear either. So based on my indicator here and everything, that it kind of looks to me like there was somebody was definitely trying very hard to go short through that range, and they were able to get some ticks down, but then there wasn't any follow through and it got rejected. So now that we're back up here at the top, though, I'm not seeing anybody puke into 14.5. Now, I'm surprised that the market maker is not just pulling it and taking it. If they do it, they could probably move a little bit more. But I don't think that takes out the possibility of them still pushing below 13. But there is a little bit more volume stacking up there. If any of this in ZF moves up, then that would really, really do it. I should also point out that there was a pretty decent amount being offered at 19 in ZB, and they moved through that. But you can see here that little black thing, like 2 orders. Thank you, sir. Your brave little 2 lot. We appreciate it. We appreciate you joining us on this journey. If we can get a couple more people to join us at 14.5, we can move up, and maybe we could have a little bit of fun moving up here. Okay, 5 years pushing it a little bit. They need to stack more at 12 3/4. Nobody bids or offers at 12 3/4. What? Oh man, this is really slow. Okay, so when I see that at 12 3/4, I mean, I have a little bit built into this, so I'm okay. But that is, well, there's 2 things. One is that when they're doing a gap like that at 12 3/4, you probably, that's like, don't initiate trades, I think. But that the interest being so low here could be an indication that we're going to have to move up. It could be an indication that we're going to have to move up because they're just not interested in trading at 12 3/4. We've got to move outside of this range because nobody's trading it. Market maker's probably a little reluctant to do it because he doesn't feel like it's worth his while. Just a theory. Dow Jones, Saudi Arabia pledged to increase oil output when U.S. sanctions on Iran tightened, but now it is playing down the need, setting the stage for a showdown. What's oil doing? Ooh, oil is selling. Oil is selling today. Down about 60 cents on the day. Okay, so now the level 2 is equal, 17.17. We haven't gotten a clear flip, but it might not do that. If we do get a flip, they might just take it right away. I would love to see that, but we'll see. I guess the counter to a lot of the positive things that I've been saying is that we're at 14 and 14 half. So we've ticked up, and there's not really a ton of interest here either. Okay, so yeah, they almost all pulled at 14 half. Okay, so it does not, my stop there, when I get the one filled, it doesn't fix that, so I'm going to have to do that, and then I can move it. Okay, but it's interesting that it pulled at 14 half. They got their fill, and it didn't clear. At least I don't believe it did. There is a little bit of liquidity setting itself up at 13 and a quarter. It's kind of pulled there, but it was sitting above 3,000 for a second. Right there. Let's start using this a little bit more. There was some right there. I'm watching this. There seems to be an iceberg here. I'm not. Okay. So big iceberg at 13. ZF. My local news station says 51 cars stolen in just 14 days in Salt Lake, 22 of those because the keys were left inside. Who leaves their keys in the car? Even in Utah. Come on, guys. What the heck? That is so weird. That is so weird. Hmm. Okay, there's a little flip in the level 2 there. So the E-mini is starting to look a little slow as well. I'm not going to take it because the time, but it appears to me that there may be, well, maybe one more move up. Okay, so the Treasuries just gave up 2 ticks very easily there. Well, they did trade some. The 5-year fallen down. There was an iceberg. So they're reacting to the iceberg in the 5-year? Could be. They just traded 1,000 there to clear 12 half. Kentucky Derby futures wagering allowed a few gamblers to lock in 96 to 1 odds in February for a horse that's suddenly one of the favorites for Saturday's race. Ooh, I'd like to hear about this. The name is Tacitus. Is showing odds of 96 to 1. So let's see if he wins on Saturday. So some absorption at 13.5. Still pretty journey. Maybe giving us a bottomly reversal. Maybe. As long as price stays above the bull bear zone today, 147.20 seems to be keeping a lid on a rally in ZV. Okay, so that stopped out. I'm wondering though, it did not do it with the volume stop. Strategy manager. So type stop. Oh, I didn't have stop volume put on it. Is that why? Okay, well, there they take it. So definitely would have stopped. But that's kind of the thing I've been finding with when I'm taking those two lots is that I just end up scratching it when I'm wrong. Which I guess is okay. Well, this is interesting. Because I've been sitting here this whole time thinking, why haven't I taken a trade? Well, I would have liked to have shorted it, but, you know, maybe I would have taken it from 17 down to 13 and gotten a 9-tick winner, you know? I don't know if they're going to push down through these lows or not, but you could see they never really built up a buy. There was a little bit, but then they started hitting into it. Probably when they started hitting into us at 13, we probably should have taken it off there and just taken the 2. Now this 12 is getting even thicker. The E-mini. Oh, I want to short it. Let's say 29.29, all right? But I'm not going to stick around for this. Tick up again. Maybe they're a little concerned about ES now. Sure looks like it's turning. Let's tag that one. I would say the sellers are making in the E-mini. The sellers in the E-mini are making a lot more progress than the buyers ever did in the E-mini. And my new little indicator is showing that quite clearly. You see this over here? Let's see how. Oh no, wait, not that one. This one. This one right here. You know what? We need to change something here. We need to get rid of the name. My little label here. I need to change the name of it too because it doesn't really tell you anything about what it is. I should call it the Sethsolator or something like that. Anyways, you can see there's this move up, but now as they've pushed it down, the indicator has come back down and it's gone negative quite easily. It's kind of subtle, but it is telling me what I want to see right there. Oh, that's a little too bright for you to be able to see. This is interesting though, that we bought in here. We got this. And it failed. But that's okay. It's okay. But the thing that's interesting to me is I've been sitting here all day being like, well, why haven't I taken a trade? But then you look at the action for the past 90 minutes. It's bad action. And maybe we move lower, but I just don't think that it's worth it to sit through something like that. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I don't think it's worth it. Wrong says, AMP Futures covers your Jigsaw ladder. They also cover X-Trader. Do you think both ladders may show different data speeds? I mean, I don't know. I think both of those platforms are pretty quick. I've had people tell me that they think that my DOM is slow or something like that. But I think that they are just seeing something like with the audio codec or something like that. Because this looks normal to me. And I haven't heard anybody say anything about that for a while. So may have not actually been a thing. If you watch the NinjaTrader DOM versus the Jigsaw DOM, you can see a difference. Now, the difference is super small. All right. So you're not, is it going to make a big difference for like it's the loop on yours though, the video? Yeah, it could be. I mean, I don't know. I don't know enough about audio codecs to know why it might appear slow, but there might be some things where, a price, one of these level 2 changed for like a split second and maybe the codec doesn't quite show it very well or something, but whatever. Um, but the thing is that change. Oh wow, look at that 12. They took it. Is so small that if you're a human trading, it's not going to make a difference in your trading. It's really not. So I don't know. I think that the efficiency of the jigsaw DOM is enough to use the jigsaw DOM, but beyond that, I don't know if it really matters. You get it beyond the jigsaw DOM. And remember that you can go in and change some settings and you can actually change how often it updates. So, um, now that I've reset onto a different platform, I don't actually have it set up the same. Because I think we changed my update interval to like 2 at one point, didn't we? I don't remember. I haven't even noticed, so maybe it's not worth messing with. But whatever. So what happened there though? I'm wondering. This thing, this little green line. It's kind of telling me delta compared to how much progress they're actually making. And I don't want to go into too much detail about how it's calculated. Sorry, not this one. This one. Okay. So, we were stuck here in this area for a really long time, right? And then we got this move up. Now look at my indicator. You see how it was really negative, and then it came all the way back up, just a little bit positive, and then they pushed it back down. So it was almost like the guy, he wanted it to move down, and he just was not getting enough people really buying into it. So they let it come up, reset everybody, and then when they pushed it down, those guys were waiting for fills, and he just went through them. I think that this could explain maybe what some of the market makers are doing, because it really did kind of show us where. Now I've seen some where um, it'll come down like this, and then it'll go all the way to the other side, and then they buy it. So, I mean, I'm only been looking at it for one day, but that's very curious to me. And here's buys. And interestingly enough, the impulse thing didn't really show us anything useful at all until we were at the lows. I think that in order to be able to see this a little bit more clearly, I'm going to get rid of the ADX and the Elder impulse, because I'm really more interested in this. This is what I have back tested. Now here, it's almost getting to a point where it's signaling a reversal, but it's never going to get there. And my thing never took a trade. So I don't know. Interesting. How much was your jigsaw? I paid $500 for it. And then I pay $50 for the live license. So I do have my live license right now. I can show you here. If I'm, switch it to live, and we'll put one at 07 there. See, it says 44.92. Now it says 44.94. Now it says 44.93 because I took mine off. Well, who was my buddy there that put one at 07 for us? That's funny. But you can see it's changing the liquidity there. So, but we're probably not going to use it. I don't know. I really thought, wait, what's Mikey saying? Change playsets. Remember, you were saying Bitcoin was overbought yesterday. Was that from the NVT signal? Yo, that's So you're on the right track, Mikey. Mine is not the NVT. It's my own thing that I've made. But we need to generate that, by the way. Let's do that. Generate charts. It is not the NVT. It's an indicator of my own making, but it uses a similar concept. I don't think that their theory about the value of the network is really holds to cryptocurrencies. I think it's better to think of it as a commodity, but it's kind of a similar principle. So I'm not getting a new indicator today, but if we were to just take what we had, calculator. Last time it took a measure, it was 52.77, and we're reading a velocity of 440, 37.69. So we're reading 143 right now. Okay, live action asks another question. $500 for the platform and $50 a month for the live. And then there is an exchange fee. So it's $15 for the CME data, I think. And then there's the rhythmic fee that I think can get refunded. Let me see here. I think I calculated it out that like your monthly platform fee is actually more like $70, which kind of sucks. But it wasn't, that's only recent. They just changed that. Where is it? Let me pull up my thing from AMP yesterday. Yeah, here it is. No, that's not the one that I want. I want the day before that. There we go. So here I got rhythmic minimum monthly was $20, and the CME bundle was $15, so $35. So it's actually coming out to be $85 a month, which really sucks. But I guess that happens because if you haven't really traded, then Rhythmic takes their fee. So yeah. And I guess the point that you're probably going to be getting into is like, oh wait, what did you guys say as I was doing that? Sorry to bother you. I should have just called them. No. So that's what I'm getting through AMP right now. And like both of those fees are something that you get pretty much anywhere that you go to, right? I don't think that any brokers are giving out free market data anymore. So like the problem that they're having is that retail traders are having a really difficult time and aren't really making a whole lot of money. And a lot of people are creating accounts and not actually trading them live. And so the brokers aren't making money and the exchanges aren't making money. And so they've increased those monthly fees to make up for it. And then we're getting the micro futures. So maybe the micro futures change that. But it's kind of interesting to be like, okay, I have to make $80 on micro futures to pay my costs. I think you can do that. Like you could make that much in a day, but it's going to be difficult. And I am, I don't know. For me, it's like I'm willing to pay that per month, but whatever. Share the channel. We've been growing, so it helps. It's not like a huge deal, but I think that we got some good stuff going. And there's the Patreon. So my broker only charges $20 a month for data if one makes less than 20 trades a month. Gotcha. Well, Anyways, what was I gonna say? Man, that bird sounds upset. No, it's okay. He was just kind of trying to figure out what the prices are. So, if you're going to trade micro futures, you're probably better off using something like something that doesn't have a monthly fee, like um, Sierra Charts or something. Well, Sierra Charts has a monthly fee, right? But it's a lot less. And I don't think that there's a live trading fee. But Jigsaw, kind of, it costs. When you're trading treasuries, it's no big deal, right? Because that's like one trade and you've paid your platform cost. But for the micro futures, it's going to be hard at first. And I think that's all I have. Oh, so I was gonna say the Bitcoin thing. That's what I was thinking about. I still think that Bitcoin is overbought, but the market just doesn't care. I mean, it is overbought, but the market doesn't care. But I'm wondering, we're kind of like hitting like the single print essentially now. So like we've retraced this big move down, and I don't see any reason for it to have done so. So I'm still of the opinion that this looks incredibly manipulated. And I cannot recommend buying cryptocurrencies right now. I'm not a financial advisor. You should make your own decisions. But I believe that Bitcoin is overbought, and I am just patiently waiting for reality to set in so that I can buy it much, much lower. Because this isn't, and especially with the whole Bitfinex thing, like really, what's going to happen when the next shoe drops? They close, like, what if they just straight up close Bitfinex? Then what do you think is going to happen to price? What if they're forced to sell everything that they have? I mean, like, we're literally looking at a possibility of like 80% of Bitcoin transaction volume being based on fake data, That's concerning to me. Anyways. Well, it is now 8:46, so I'm going to post my notes and head out. So I will stop talking. I'm really interested. Well, so there's a 11 and there's that signal. Are we going to go lower or higher? I'm going to keep it going here for a second so that we can see, but I'm going to post my notes now. Okay, well, it worked. It's interesting. Yeah, the thing that bothers me is that I wanted to go short today, and then it gave me, like I saw a long signal, like took it. It gave me 2 ticks. Um, I ended up scratching it, and then it moves lower. I'm glad that I wasn't in all of that action, but I'm at the same time I'm also mad
that it waited so long before finally moving lower and everything like that, and that by the time it did, I was done trading. But that right there at 11. Do we have this? Yes. See that 730, 73.94? That was the reload. And then they did bust it 3 ticks lower. They've tried that many times this week higher and they never got it. And now they finally did. So bravo. So maybe we could take those short. I don't know. But, we'll have GDP tomorrow. We'll see where it goes. And I think that we might be getting a short trend for a while now. So I'm sure there will be other opportunities. And it is getting into the summer months. So we shouldn't expect much. And if I have a lot of days like today where I'm just really patient and don't really feel the need to trade it, that's good. That means I'm making progress because I overtrade and I didn't trade in a time period where I shouldn't have traded. So yeah, I'm going to shut up now. I will catch you guys tomorrow. In the meantime, stay profitable.